they kill the live baby. You can't even pretend it's an abortion anymore. It was born alive. And these sickening, disgusting, So again, I haven't read these. We're just going to kind of read through them as we go. Says, in a vote that has genuinely stunned many Americans, Senate Democrats shot down a bill Monday brought by Republican Ben Sasse protecting born-alive babies who survived botched abortions. So, I mean, unless you've just not been around, you know about this. And I think maybe some of these other little articles I read on later touch on this too. I'll just read it. The bill, Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, would have amended a criminal code to prohibit a health care practitioner from failing to exercise proper degree of care in the case of child who survives an abortion or attempted abortion. Present Senate Republicans voted for it. All but 3 Democrat senators voted against the bill, causing it to fail. So basically, and I think some of my other subjects touch on this a little bit, but basically this is how insane this bill is. As if having a baby aborted, murdered, up to the 9th month isn't enough. If you don't know how these abortions work, late-term abortions work, is they inject the baby with a poison typically. And then the mother carries the baby around for a day or two while the baby inside of them dies. And then they basically give birth to a dead baby. That's how late-term abortions work. Well, in some of these instances, I don't think very many, to be honest, but they're just saying for the what-if clause here. And basically, this whole reason Ben Sasse put this bill out wasn't so much because this happened so much we need to get this clarified. He did it to call him out. And it was beautiful. He did it to call him out and to show the true colors of all the shitheads that think abortion at this stage of the game is acceptable. Basically, if the baby then, after it's been injected, doesn't die and it gives birth, right? And she gives birth to this baby and it's still alive. And this is all I know you heard. Many people maybe heard Alex Jones ranting on this on Joe Rogan. Or maybe you actually heard old blackface Governor Northam talk about it on that interview that started this whole debacle. It didn't really start it, but got it in the public's eye. Basically, what happens is if they give birth to the baby and it's still alive because the poison that they injected into it didn't kill it, then what they do is they make the baby comfortable and they set it on the table and then they have a discussion with the mom of what they want to do. And if she's like, yeah, I still want it gone, they kill the live baby. That's what this bill was proposing, or that's what the other bill was proposing. And this bill was basically saying that making this illegal, saying no. Now it's a person under the the Constitution and the rights given to every living soul in the United States, that you don't have a right to just murder, literally murder. You can't even pretend it's an abortion anymore. It was born alive. And these sickening, disgusting, it blows my mind. How can you be that terrible of a person? I don't understand that. I guess I just don't understand where our thought process is now in our world, where it can be a live born baby. And this bill was saying, this bill that didn't pass, because the Democrats shot it down, it didn't pass, are saying no, that's still the right of the practitioner and the mother. No, it's definitely not at this point. It's definitely not. It's fucking murder. And it's murder before just a few skins of guts and layers of skin and some tissue separating it from the real world. And then you kill it and suck it out or pull it out limb by limb, snip it all up inside the mom when it's a little bit younger, but still viable. And you just pull it out limb by limb, because that's what they do. They chop it up inside the woman. A live baby, they will chop up inside when it's smaller. They just chop them up and then they just pull them out piece by piece. That's what happens. If you don't like that, if you think I'm being dramatic or you think I'm being over the top, well, no, let's just talk about it. If you support it, support it. Support it all the way. But know what you're supporting. You're supporting a baby getting chopped up inside a person's womb and then pulled out. And in this case, this bill, to call the fuckers out that don't support it, in this bill, basically it's saying, okay, so basically if the baby is born, doesn't quite die after they've injected it with poison. And by the way, it's funny that I believe lethal injection in New York is outlawed, but you can inject a baby with a lethal injection? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Said no one ever. That has a brain and a conscience and is a decent human being and isn't the scourge of the earth. If an abortion results in the live birth of an infant, the infant is a legal person for all purposes under the laws of the United States and entitled to the protection of such laws, reads the bill. Any infant born alive after an abortion or within a hospital, clinic, or other facility has the same claim to the protection of the law that would arise for a newborn or any person who comes to a hospital, clinic, or other facility for screening and treatment or otherwise becomes a patient within its care. That's what this bill read. And they voted against it. I know this is kind of old news. I'm just getting around to talking about it myself. But this should be outrageous to everybody. And if it isn't, I question you as a person. If this doesn't disgust you and bother you. I really do. And if you have a problem with that, I just don't give a shit. I really don't. I just don't care. I don't care anymore about caring about what people think, about what I think. I am tired, and I did for a very long time care. I don't want to offend people, well, people who know me have known that I've never been totally somebody who walks around and try not to offend somebody. But I will be honest, when I started making my videos and I started putting them on Facebook, I would leave certain people out of like when I shared it on Facebook, I would leave certain people out of it because I didn't really want to get into it with them. If it had to do with some crazy race thing about, the issue of race, I was like, maybe I'll leave these people off or that people off. And then I thought, why am I doing that? I'm not a racist. I'm not against black people. I'm not against brown people. I'm not against anybody. I am for common sense. I am for common decency. I am for being fair across the board with people. And yes, I'm very opinionated. Everyone knows that. But I am not. Why do I have to be scared or live in fear? So, I mean, one of the things on my channel is I say without fear or animus. And my little logo, if you look on my YouTube channel, it says F and A, right? Without F and A. And that's going to be my little logo, logo, or my little saying is like without F and A. And that's without fear or animus. I am not going to have any more fear of what I'm going to say. And I don't say anything with animus. Although I get passionate, although I may call people idiots, I know that sounds like you're being animus when, I'm showing animus when I'm doing that. I'm doing it in scenarios that whatever it is we're talking about goes against common decency and common sense. And that is not, I'm not showing animus to somebody that's a good person just to be mean to them. It's like, I'm going to speak my mind and I'm going to speak what I believe to be truth. And I'm going to be wrong on some of the stuff that I say. But I'm going to speak it. And if you don't like it, you don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. Don't listen if you don't like it. Moving on. I get caught up at times. In a response, President Trump predicted that the Democrats' actions will go down as one of the most shocking votes in the history of Congress. And he was damn right. He was right. President Trump was right. He also characterized the failure of the doctor to save the unborn alive babies as executing them. And he was right. It's execution at that point. There's no denying it. It is a live baby laying on a table. And you are deciding with the mother whether or not they want to keep that or not. It is execution at this point. It's execution before that. But there's no question about it now. It is out of the mother's womb. It is not part of you anymore. Your stupid argument that says, well, it's my body, my right. Stay off my body. You don't have a right to my body. It's not your body anymore. It's the baby's body. And you don't have a right to its body. Senate Democrats just voted against legislation to prevent the killing of a newborn infant children. The Democrat position on abortion is now so extreme that they don't mind executing babies after birth. He wrote in a pair of tweets after the vote Monday evening. This will be remembered as one of the most shocking votes in the history of Congress. If there is one thing we should all agree on, it's protecting the lives of innocent babies. Good for you, Donald Trump. Good for you. Good for you. Good on you, man. And all you MAGA haters and all you people out there that think Donald Trump is the biggest misogynist, pig, racist, xenophobe, bigot, whatever the words, your buzzwords that your ists and your isms that you throw around, shove them up your ass. Because you know what? On this subject, he's on point. And it's evident in a lot of my videos. I don't agree with all of Mr. or President Trump's policies right now. I don't agree with all of his rhetoric. I don't agree with some of the things he says. I don't necessarily like the way he says things at times. But you know what? There's so many things he's saying right now that I do agree with, and I think that he honestly believes. I've said in the past, I don't know if everything he says he believes. On these things, I believe he says it. He isn't just speaking to his constituents. He's speaking out of his heart, and it's just common decency and common sense. Come on, people. In response, the New York Times published a version of a fact check on Trump's misleading tweets on Wednesday and provided the following summary of its central arguments. Babies are rarely, doesn't matter if it's rarely. It doesn't matter. It's more so the principle of what this bill says. Oh, they're rarely born. They're rarely born alive. Who cares if it's rarely? Once is too many times. Once. And the fact that you would support it is what we're calling out as bullshit. Babies are rarely born alive after abortion procedures, and if they are, doctors do not kill them. These are the facts behind President Trump's misleading tweets in the latest abortion battle. That the Times would believe that the fact that babies are rarely born alive is a legitimate argument against... Right, I didn't read this part, but he's saying what I thought. Legitimate argument against voting for the bill and its attempt to parse the concept of a doctor allowing a baby to die on the table as different from actually killing the child didn't go over well online. In fact, response to the tweet of the article was overwhelmingly negative. First off, what does it matter if babies are rarely born alive after an abortion procedure? I didn't read this beforehand. I'm just on point. Noted Twitchy, mass shootings rarely occur, and yet we have an entire party trying to ban semi-automatic weapons. Good point. Transgender students rarely are conflicted about which restrooms to use and what it's worth. Senator Sass' bill was about those rare occurrences. Why vote against a bill protecting them? One Twitter follower asked the Times in reference to the paper's rarely argument. So why vote against the bill protecting them? Question mark. Like I said, didn't read it. Did you even hear yourself? Babies are rarely born alive. Babies, yes, babies that were not allowed to be born, or were allowed to be born, were not allowed to be born alive. And if they somehow are alive, doctors do not have to provide them care and may let them die. May God have mercy on us all, one of the followers wrote. How can you work for the New York Times and not know what Northam said, which kicked all this off? He especially talked about newborns being born and then a decision on what to do with them. This is why you're fake news, wrote another, citing the infamous defense emphasized by moderate Democrat Virginia Governor Ralph Northam. Eighth paragraph of the article. The bill would force doctors to resuscitate such an infant even if the parents did not want those measures. Sounds like you admit Trump was right and buried it as far down as you could. Another pointed out, if you stopped acting like fake news, we'd stop calling you out. Amen to that. I could hardly believe this article is referring to human beings, wrote another. Yeah, so, I mean, and then I have another one. I think this one is also touching on the Democratic stuff. Yeah, and maybe this is going to be a lot of the same stuff we just kind of went over. Democrats block Republicans from saving infants born alive from botched abortions. Yeah, same kind of thing here. Monday, it's blocked, born alive, Born Alive Abortion Survivor Protection Act would mandate doctors attempt to save born alive infants instead of allowing them to die.